On day 1, I spawned in as an Elemental Witherstorm. I was smaller than I expected to be, and I only had 10 hearts. I didn't know what my purpose was, but I did know one thing. I had the desire to absorb the world to become the strongest creature in all of Minecraft. Suddenly, I spotted a village far off in the distance. The perfect place to make my presence known. Greetings, mortals. I am the Elemental Witherstorm. The villagers were all terrified by me. They all began to scatter and run away. To my surprise, I was able to summon lightning from the sky. I defeated a lot of them. I can tell since I was still weak, I wasn't able to fully control it though. As a Witherstorm, I had the ability to absorb other creatures. I absorbed the villager, and I felt so much stronger. I continued wreaking havoc on the village before the iron golems showed up. They put up a good fight, but I was able to overpower them and absorb them too. The entire village was destroyed, and I realized that I had gained an additional 5 hearts. I also grew a little in size. It seemed as though the more things I absorbed, the stronger I would become. Suddenly, a weird-looking golem dropped in and said,
Elemental Witherstorm, I shall kill you and bring your elemental core to my master, Gorum, the most powerful creature in all of Minecraft.
Hey, I'm the most powerful. Before I could say anything else, though, he slammed the ground, throwing blocks up in the air, damaging me. Ouch! Impossible! I thought I was the strongest, but I guess I was wrong. I have to leave now.
Run all you want. We will catch you.
On day 2, I was running away. Apparently, I wasn't as powerful as I thought I was. That needs to change. I was roaming around when I ran into a few strange mutated wolves.
So the Elemental Witherstorm does exist. We must deliver your core to Garum!
That's the second time I heard of this Garum. Why did he need me? The wolves then started to attack me. Their claws did a lot of damage. Ouch! Because of my panic, I accidentally shot out a bunch of lightning again. I was able to defeat all but one. I flew over to him and absorbed him as well. Because of that, I grew a little bit more in size again. Hopefully, though, I'll be able to fully control my lightning power soon. I then noticed that one of them dropped something. What's this? I went over and picked it up. It was a note from Garum, the guy who wanted my core.
Do not disappoint me. Obtaining the elemental core from the Witherstorm will grant all of us mutants power like none other.
So Garum is a mutant too, and apparently the most powerful one. Maybe if I fight more mutants, I can learn how to stop him to prove you can't mess with a Witherstorm, the real strongest creature in Minecraft. On day 3, I found myself in the middle of a forest. If I wanted to be the strongest, I had to upgrade myself. I then took down a few trees using my absorbing powers and collected enough wood to make a crafting table and a wooden pickaxe. Then, I used the pickaxe to collect stone and crafted a set of stone tools. I continued onwards and eventually found a nice open area and decided that this would be the perfect place to make my base. I collected some of the nearby trees and then laid the foundation for it. I knew that as I got stronger, I would also become bigger. Because of that, I made the base a little bit bigger than I currently needed to accommodate my growth. I then left my base and decided to go out and explore more of the world to find a new way to get stronger. On day 4, I was exploring, looking for anything or anyone to make me stronger. I spotted some cows in the plains, and I tried to use my elemental abilities on them, but it seemed like I was too weak still. I decided to attack them with my stone sword. As I continued to attack the cows, I tried to absorb them, but for some reason, I wasn't able to. Why? Suddenly, I heard a shout nearby. I turned around and spotted 2 players were in the area. Ooh, maybe they could make me stronger. I flew over to the players, but they started to run away. Hey, stop running. I then shot an ice blast at them uncontrollably, freezing some of them in place. Whoa, I had ice powers too. One of the players shot an arrow at me, but that only made me angrier. Another ice ability suddenly shot and it froze the player in place, allowing me to absorb him.
Why are you doing this?
Because I'm gonna be the strongest creature in all of Minecraft. I then absorbed the last player. I noticed that since I was still weak, I was unable to effectively control my elemental powers. But I will still take this as a win. Maybe if I find stronger mobs like one of those mutants from before, it can help me out with that. On day 5, I continued on my conquest, searching for the mutant.
Help!
What was that? It sounded like it came from the mountain. Eventually, I came across a wither skeleton being attacked by another mutant.
Leave me alone!
Just stand still! I must turn you into a mutant!
Before the mutant can do anything to the skeleton, I appeared before them.
Well, if it isn't the Elemental Witherstorm, time time to die!
I don't think so. By accident, I used my elemental lightning power to strike the mutant spider before charging at him with my stone sword. The mutant swiped at me with its claws, dealing some damage. He was strong, but I was not backing down. For some reason, I felt the need to defend this wither mob from the mutant. After a good fight, I eventually weakened him to the point where I could absorb him.
You have no idea what's coming your way, Witherstorm. Garum will win!
I absorbed him and grew into a larger Witherstorm. I had a total of 25 hearts. And look at that. I had a new Witherstorm ability. I tested it out. It looked like an energy beam that was able to destroy blocks. It destroyed that entire tree. This will come in handy. The wither skeleton stopped me. He wanted to thank me for saving him. The skeleton introduced himself as Grim and told me that he couldn't believe that the legends were true. Legends?
Yes, the legend of the great Elemental Witherstorm who would stop Garm, the mutant dragon. He is the strongest mob known and made the world unbearable for most creatures to live in. It is the Witherstorm who would rise and bring peace to all of this.
So, he isn't just any regular mutant. He's a mutant dragon? Great. Did you say bring peace to the land? That doesn't sound like me. But if he is known as the strongest mob, then I will stop him to show him who the most powerful creature really is. Grim asked if he can come with me. I thought about it and realized I couldn't leave another wither mob alone in this world. I decided to let him tag along. The two of us returned to base, and I realized that even though I had planned ahead, I still wasn't going to fit inside my home. I had materials left over from when I first started, so I used them to make myself a bigger house to fit my new, larger body. With the leftover materials, I decided it was best to also make Grim a house. I built a small shack near mine for him to live in. Grim thanked me for the new place, but I could tell that he was sad about something. Hey, cheer up. I just saved your life back there.
Yeah, well, I wish I was as strong and useful like you.
Grim told me that he got kicked out of the nether because he wasn't strong like the other wither skeletons. Well, I'm the strongest creature in Minecraft. My strength makes up for your weakness. I can tell that he was still a little saddened, and I felt a little bad for him. Anyways, there are other pressing matters at hand. I asked Grim what else he knew about this legend.
The Elemental Witherstorm is destined to be the strongest creature in Minecraft. The only problem is that Garum stands in your way.
You know, I've been hearing so much about this Garum. I haven't even met the guy. You wouldn't happen to know where he might be.
I wouldn't know, but wherever there's a mutation, Garum is not far from it.
Interesting. I think it's time I find this Garum and show him who the real strongest creature is. On day 7, I left the base and started my hunt for Garum. Grim said that wherever there is mutation, Garum isn't that far behind. Maybe if I find another mutant, they can show me where to find him. I continued flying throughout the world until I spotted a familiar massive stone golem walking about. Hey, you big rock. Remember me? The creature turned around and was surprised by my presence. You wouldn't know where Garum is, would you? I told him I wanted to meet his leader once and for all. The golem laughed and introduced himself as Boulder. He said that he was not going to bring me to him alive.
Garum will be pleased with me killing you and bringing him your core.
You keep saying I have a core. What is it exactly? The golem didn't answer though and threw blocks into the air that hit me. Ouch! I tried using my ice ability to freeze Boulder in place, but I wasn't able to.
What a weakling. I thought this would be a challenge.
How dare you mock me? I was enraged by his comment and rushed towards him with my sword. Boulder quickly knocked me aside. This wasn't good. I can't beat this guy right now. I summoned lightning and shocked the massive golem for a second. This bought me enough time to fly off. Wow, if Boulder is this strong, what was Garum like? After getting away from Boulder, I've come to realize that I need to have better protection against strong creatures like him. I decided to go look for more materials to collect. I ventured out and found a cave, but it didn't seem big enough to fit me. Oh, I forgot. I have a new ability. I concentrated and used my new ability to blow a large hole into the cave. Being a Witherstorm is awesome. That's much better. I went inside and saw that it was full of iron. Using my stone tools, I collected as much iron I could find to make a set of iron tools. I also had enough to craft myself a chest plate and pants. But for some reason, when I tried to equip the armor, it wouldn't stay on. What? Maybe the iron couldn't fit on top of my massive figure. Man, I guess it's not that great being an Elemental Witherstorm. I was gonna have to find another way to gain protection.
Fozo!
Huh? I turned around, but no one was around me.
Oh, Fozo!
There it is again. Who's calling out to me? I decided to follow the voices out of the cave and see who it was. On days 9 to 10, I followed the voice out of the cave and found myself flying towards the peak of a mountain. I heard a loud roar, only to see a gigantic mutated dragon sitting on a nearby peak. I had a feeling I knew exactly who he was.
It's finally good to meet you, bozo.
And you must be Garum, the mutant dragon I've heard so much about. Garum said that he was, and told me that I had something that belonged to him.
Give me the elemental nether star, and your death shall be painless.
Elemental nether star? Was this the core the mutant golem was talking about? The dragon told me that my nether star was the source of my elemental powers.
Once I have the star, I will become unstoppable with all 4 elements: ice, fire, air, and lightning.
Maybe when I reach my full potential, I'll have control over each element. Fat chance. This star was given to me for a reason. I was destined to become the most unstoppable creature in this world.
Do you really think so?
Some pigs started walking past us, and Garum wanted to show off his power. He fired his mutant breath on the pigs. Suddenly, the once normal pigs turned into mutant hoglins.
Hoglins, bring me his elemental nether star.
Uh-oh. I need to get out of here. I quickly flew away, with the hoglins chasing after me. The hoglins followed me into a plains biome, and they were hot on my trail. I didn't know if I could escape. Hey, wait a minute. I'm the Elemental Witherstorm. I turned around and faced the mutant hoglins. I got so angry that I shot the hoglins with a wave of fire. I tried to use my other abilities again, but I wasn't able to. I fought back with my sword, but the hoglins were too tough. This is over. I was so angry and summoned a large fire around myself that damaged the hoglins, killing them. I absorbed the hoglins' hearts and could tell that I was getting much stronger thanks to them. Whoa, so I had a fire element as well. Hopefully one day I'll be able to fully control it at will. It just kept shooting out randomly. That Garum was no joke. I had a feeling that I haven't seen the last of him yet, or his mutant minions. Garum is gonna hunt me down until he has my elemental nether star, and I wasn't ready to face him yet. I decided to return to base and see if Grim would know what to do. On days 13 to 14, I made it back to base and found Grim. I told them about my encounter with Garum, and he seemed surprised.
Not many can say they met Garum and lived. Most people would die from his mutant presence.
Maybe you, but not me. I told Grim that killing Garum would be the only way to prove that I'm the strongest. I needed to find a faster way to get stronger, and asked Grim if he knew how.
Well, you could enhance your elemental nether star.
He said that there were beacons based off the elementals that were scattered all around the world.
With each beacon you collect, you'll gain more control over your stronger elemental attacks, making you more powerful.
This was great. Hopefully with these beacons, I can become stronger than Garum. He won't know what hit him. I asked Grim where I could find them, and he said he only knew of one beacon location. Hey, well that's a start. He told me that the ice beacon was located in an ice biome not far from us. I thanked him for the information and flew off towards the beacon. As I was flying across the ice biome, I remembered what Grim told me.
You can find the ice beacon at the top of a mountain, but be careful. With each beacon, there's probably someone guarding it.
I eventually saw a mountain with a beam of light glowing from the top. That must be where the ice beacon is. I flew up to the top of it, and just as I said, there it was. I was about to go retrieve it when I saw a large Yeti monster. So who are you? The ice beast didn't listen though, and just started to attack. Oh, you will regret that.
You dare challenge a Frostmaw for the ice beacon?
The creature called himself Frostmaw. I'm guessing he was the guardian of the beacon. I told the Frostmaw that I wanted to use the beacon to enhance my ice powers, but he didn't care.
Over my dead body.
Out of nowhere, my ice powers bursted out uncontrollably again. It wasn't any good though, because Frostmaw seemed unaffected. He hit me with his ice attacks and started causing me damage. Ow! This guy's tougher than he looks. I rained down lightning on him, and he was stunned. I was so angry again that I summoned fire all around me and started to damage him greatly. He kept fighting though. This guy was tough, but I knew I was stronger. Eventually, I took him down with a few good hits from my sword. I then turned my attention to the ice beacon. I walked up slowly and, out of nowhere, I absorbed all of its power. Whoa. I could tell that I was gaining more power from this than anything else. I now had a total of 35 hearts and even obtained more armor. I noticed that I can now control my ice powers willingly. Sweet. On days 17 to 18, I made my way back to base until I spotted something familiar. It was Boulder, and he was trying to infect the other mobs with his mutant powers. A mob of white bunnies were surrounded by the mutant golem.
Please, leave us alone!
Sorry, but that's not going to happen.
Boulder was about to infect the bunnies, but I flew in and blocked the golem's path. Hey, pick on someone your own size. I used my ice abilities on him. Using these at will is so much better now. Boulder was hurt by the attack, but laughed and retaliated with a punch that knocked me back. The bunnies were able to get away from him. I charged him and hit him with my sword, following with my ice breath attack again.
Ha ha ha! That actually hurts, but only a little bit.
Boulder charged in and hit me so hard that half of my hearts were already gone. I knew that I had to escape. I'm leaving now, but trust me, the next time we meet, I'll be much stronger. I flew away from Boulder, but was happy that I at least saved those bunnies. I returned to base and told Grim about retrieving the ice beacon.
Good job, Fozo. Now you're that much closer to beating Garum.
Yeah, but not close enough. I told Grim about my encounter with Boulder and how frustrating it was not being able to defeat him. And worst of all, I saved bunnies and I actually liked it. What kind of Witherstorm am I? I needed to find the other beacons, but we didn't know where to look.
I'll look around and see if I can find any information. Don't worry, Fozo. We'll get those beacons soon.
Grim left the base, and I decided that we needed to be better prepared if Garum sent someone after me again. I collected more resources and started building up a wall around the base. Once I finished fortifying the wall, I went over to my house and decided to rest for the night. On days 21 to 23, I woke up from my slumber and saw that the bunnies had arrived at the base. Hey, get out of here. I don't need any more mobs to protect. The bunnies just wanted to thank me for saving them from Boulder. Yeah, sure. I didn't want to admit it, but it actually felt good helping these creatures out. The bunnies told me their home was destroyed and they had nowhere else to go. Okay, fine. I used the materials I had left over to build a small shelter for the bunnies. The bunnies were very grateful for my help, and I told them that from now on, I would protect them from the mutants. But you better be useful too. Go add some carrots to the farm. The bunnies agreed. Grim finally returned, but was upset because he couldn't find any information about the beacons. I told him not to worry about it, but I was gonna need to find a way to stop all these mutants fast.
Did you say mutants?
I said yes, and the bunny told me that the other ones spotted a destroyed kingdom on their way to the base. Hey, look at that, already being useful. The bunny pointed me towards the direction, and I flew off to go follow the trail. I flew toward the world and spotted the kingdom. What was going on here? I went inside, and the kingdom was completely overrun by mutants. This can only be the work of that dragon. No! I followed the scream and saw Garum turn a poor villager into a mutant. Talk about going overboard.
Fozo, I wasn't expecting you to be here. It looks like you've gotten a little stronger since last time.
The same can be said for yourself. Why are you doing all of this?
The world has turned their backs on all mutants. We have never felt love from anyone, so it's time we take over and become the new normal. I plan to turn all of Minecraft into a mutant wasteland where I'll rule and become the strongest creature.
That's why he wants my elemental nether star. It'll help him achieve his goal. I'm not gonna let that happen. I used my enhanced ice powers and completely froze Garum. Not so strong now, are you? I heard Garum's laughing, and the ice completely melted away. Uh-oh. Garum blasted me with his mutant breath, greatly wounding me. Ouch. I needed to get out of here. I flew out of the kingdom as far away as I could, but I was too weak and fell to the ground. Oh no, I'm gonna pass out. On days 27 to 29, I woke up and found myself in the middle of a plains biome. I looked around and Garum was nowhere to be found. This is so frustrating. I still couldn't beat Garum, and he made me look like a weakling. Mark my words, you're gonna pay for this. I flew out and started making my way back to base when I spotted smoke in the air. I went over to the source and saw that Garum's mutant henchmen were attacking a village. Good, a perfect way for me to get stronger. I flew down and appeared before the mutants. The mutants began to charge at me, but I summoned lightning down to stun them. You guys are no match for me. I hit them with my tractor beam and vaporized the mutants. The villagers still seemed scared, and I asked one of them what was wrong. The villager told me that they heard about me and how I've caused nothing but destruction. If that was the case, then why did I save you? The villager thought for a moment and agreed that I meant no hards towards them. He thanked me for saving them and said, I saw a weird skeleton looking for info about the elemental beacons. Do you know him? Yeah, I do. I told the villager that Grim is a friend of mine, and the villager handed me a map. He told me that this would lead me to the lightning temple. I thanked him for his help and went to go find the temple. I flew off in search of the lightning temple and eventually spotted a yellow beacon shooting up in the sky. That must be where it is. I arrived and was quickly greeted by guardians.
Alt, who goes there?
I introduced myself as Fozo, the Elemental Witherstorm, and more lightning-themed villagers villagers began to surround me.
We know why you're here.
They called themselves the Lightning Clan, and they guarded the lightning beacon. They didn't want me to take the beacon's power because they're afraid I would use it to continue on my path of destruction. I mean, they weren't wrong, but my main priority was taking care of Garum first. I tried to convince them that was the case, but they didn't want to hear it. They kept telling me to go away, and I started to get angry.
Enough!
Suddenly, the chief of the clan appeared and told the villagers to stop arguing with me. The chief asked what was my true purpose of obtaining the beacon. I told them about the mutant dragon and his goals of mutating the entire world. Getting this beacon will help me stop him. The chief seemed skeptical, but decided to believe me and handed me the beacon.
Please, use this wisely.
I promised him that I would, and absorbed it. I felt something strange happening, and quickly flew outside of the temple. I grew into a much larger Witherstorm, and even gained 10 more hearts. I shouted back down to the thief, thanking them for trusting me. I then made my way back to base. On days 33 to 35, I returned to base, now with my lightning powers upgraded. Now that I've absorbed the lightning beacon, I might as well see how strong my lightning abilities are. I flew over the top of my base and activated my powers. Suddenly, the entire area was surrounded by lightning bolts. Awesome. I decided to upgrade my base more and make my house bigger. Jeez, I really don't think I can even make a house my size anymore. My hunger bars were also getting low, so I lured some cows and sheep into the base and locked them inside the new base gate. I didn't want the bunnies to starve either, so I started planting crops next to the farm. Eventually, some wheat and vegetables would grow later on. I noticed Grimm's house looked smaller compared to mine, so I added more rooms to his house to give him more space.
Thanks, Bozo. That lightning show was your doing, wasn't it?
Yep, that was me. Now I'm halfway there to absorbing all of the beacons and beating Garum. Grimm was happy to hear that and said that the next beacon I should look for was the fire beacon. The only problem was where to find it.
You're looking for the fire beacon. Why not try the volcano? It's probably the hottest place it would be.
Oh, that's a great idea. The bunny told me that the volcano was located at the center of the world. Time to go fly over there and check it out. As I made my way towards the volcano, I spotted Boulder roaming around. I think it's time for a little payback. I landed near Boulder and called out to him.
Well, if it isn't the little Witherstorm, you're going to do another hit and run?
Not this time. I'm much stronger than before. I charged at Boulder and used my ice powers to freeze him.
This again?
Then I summoned multiple lightning bolts and greatly damaged him. I can tell that he was shocked by my new powers. I hovered over Boulder, but he used his strength to launch me across the area. Ow! I went back over, but he was gone. Great. Aw, man. He won't be so lucky next time. I left the area and continued my journey to the volcano.
Why are you back here, Boulder? I thought I told you to keep mutating the world.
Master, the Witherstorm has gotten stronger than before.
At such a fast pace, he must be absorbing the elemental beacons. I need to take his star before it's too late.
On days 39 to 41, I finally reached it, and just as it was stated before, it was at the center of the world. Man, this thing was huge. I could feel the heat emitting from a distance. This has to be where the fire beacon is. I tried to go down inside of it, but it was way too hot for me. Ouch. Probably not a good idea to attempt that. If I can't go inside of the volcano, then why don't I just open it up? I floated away from it. Then, I summoned all of my ice powers and blasted the volcano, completely turning it into a block of ice. That's step 1, and now for 2. I charged up my lightning powers and hit the frozen volcano with a large lightning bolt, breaking it into pieces. Awesome, that actually worked. Now, let's see if the fire beacon is somewhere down there. I went over to the wreckage, but couldn't find the fire beacon anywhere. Where is it? I continued searching around, but there was still no sign of it. Really? I did all of this for nothing? I knew I had to talk to Grimm about this. I flew off and headed back to base. I hope the world didn't need this volcano. On my way back to base, I decided to make a pit stop and look for more materials to add to it. Eventually, I spotted a cave, but unfortunately, because of my size, I would still never fit inside of one. But I still had my trusty beam. Using it, I collected resources and gathered enough to upgrade my iron tools to diamond ones. Sweet! Wait, what was that? A large explosion went off and completely shook the region. Whoa, whatever that was didn't sound good. The explosions are coming from somewhere on the other side of this hill, so I decided to go out and investigate. On days 45 to 47, I reached the plains, where I thought the explosion had originated. But it wasn't just a regular explosion. It was Garum and Boulder. They were causing them.
Bozo, My second in command has told me that you have gotten much stronger.
Did he also tell you that I beat him in our last fight? Boulder didn't like that, but I didn't care less.
I'll acknowledge that you're strong enough for us to take your elemental nether star.
Garum came charging at me and blasted me with his mutant dragon breath. It sent me straight to the ground. I was about to counter, but Boulder charged in and slammed me as well. Garum was right there too, and he hit me with another breath. Ow! You guys are just gonna fight me 2-on-1? That's not fair at all. This was getting out of hand. I knew that I couldn't beat both of them in a fight, so I needed a way to escape. Garum came flying towards me, and I used my ice powers to freeze him in place. Before Boulder could even react, I shot him with a massive lightning bolt. With the two temporarily stunned, I quickly flew out of the area and escaped straight to base. I made it back and crash landed into the ground. I was completely exhausted from fighting Garum and Boulder. Grim ran over to check on me, and I told him about the situation.
You fought both Garum and Boulder? Wow, you are one lucky Witherstorm.
Grim then handed me mutton to help replenish my strength, and I thanked him for the assist. I told him that I didn't find the fire beacon at the volcano. Is there any other place that would store that kind of heat?
There's only one other place that I can think of, and that's back home in the Nether.
Grim told me that the Nether is filled with fire and lava. Maybe that's where the beacon was. Speaking of home, I've got a surprise. We went over to Grim's house, and I changed it into a coal-themed house. Now, a little bit of home is here with you. Grim was extremely grateful for this and told me how to get to the Nether. I collected a large amount of obsidian, and the two of us went off and built a massive Nether portal.
Go inside. Find my friend Rip. He should be able to help you find the beacon.
Will do, Grim. I went through the portal and started my journey into the Nether. On days 51 to 53, I was inside of the Nether, searching for Grim's friend, as well as any other information on the fire beacon. I journeyed throughout the area until I eventually came across a giant Nether fortress. I floated over it, and a large wither skeleton approached me.
You're the Elemental Witherstorm, right? What brings you in the Nether?
I told the skeleton that I was looking for someone named Rip, and the skeleton told me that that was him. I explained to Rip that Grim sent me down here in hopes of finding the fire beacon.
Yeah, the fire beacon is here.
That's great. I needed to help everyone in the overworld. They're in grave danger. He seemed shocked that a Witherstorm like me cared about the overworld. It's a long story. Rip was more than willing to help.
I'll tell you where to find the fire beacon, but I need your help down here too.
Rip told me that just like the overworld, Garum has been busy mutating the mobs of the Nether as well. Garum apparently has sent his mutant henchmen to capture the mobs so that he can mutate them and become stronger. I asked Rip to point me in their direction and went off to go save the mobs of the Nether. On my adventures to rescue the Nether mobs, I came across a strange forest. It was very different from the ones back in the overworld. Help! I turned and saw that a group of piglins were trapped inside of cages. They were being guarded by some strange-looking Endermen. Don't worry, guys. I'll free you soon. A mutant Enderman then teleported in front of me. Whoa! I quickly froze him with my ice powers. The others then teleported and started to attack. Every time I tried to counter, they would teleport away. All right, that's it. I used my lightning powers to summon a bunch of lightning and stop them in their tracks. I was about to finish them off, but an idea popped into my head. Maybe I don't have to kill these guys. I quickly used my absorbing powers, and instead of taking their lives, I took away the Enderman's mutation. They were just regular Endermen now, and were grateful that I freed them. I then also freed the piglins, and all of them together were very thankful. I told them it was no problem, and flew off back towards the Nether fortress. It actually feels really good helping out these mobs. On days 57 to 59, I returned to the Nether Fortress and told Rip the good news.
Amazing. Not only were you able to save piglins, but you also managed to cure the Enderman?
Yep, I killed 2 birds with 1 stone. He thanked me for my help, and as promised, he would take me to the fire beacon. He led me to another part of the fortress where the fire beacon was housed. Awesome. I went over and absorbed the beacon and can tell that I've gotten so much stronger and gained better fire abilities. I also got upgrades to my armor. Rip then went outside of the fortress, and I thanked him for all of his help.
Hey, any friend of Grim is a friend of mine. Speaking of Grim, here, take this.
He handed me a cool wither sword and wanted me to give this to Grim.
When you see Grim, tell him that old Rip misses him.
I told Rip that I would and headed back to the Nether portal. I walked through the portal and was back in the overworld, but I was greeted by an unwelcomed guest.
Hello, Fozo.
It was Garum. So your little sidekick is in here to back you up this time, huh? Good. Let's settle this right here, right now. I was about to shoot Garum with a fireball, but he stopped me.
Oh, I didn't come here to fight. only to offer a proposition.
Proposition? What are you implying? The dragon told me that he wanted to make a deal with me. Garum knew that I've gotten stronger again, and he wanted me to join him on his mutant conquest. He told me that I was a mutant just like him, and that I was fighting the wrong side.
Join me, and you will get the top spot in my new mutant overworld. Imagine it. All of the destruction you could cause with no regrets.
Destruction? I do like to destroy things. Garum just needed my Elemental Witherstorm to do that. I didn't know what to say, and Garum told me that he would give me a few days to think about it. We both went our separate ways. On days 63 to 65, I returned to base and was greeted by Grim.
Were you able to find the fire beacon?
I was, and I got you something. I handed him the Wither Sword and told him that Rip wanted him to have it.
Wow, a wither sword! I can't believe Rip got this for me!
Grim started running around the base, swinging around his new sword. It was good to see how happy he was. But Garum's words came back into my thoughts.
All of the destruction you could cause with no regrets.
Destroying everything around me and showing off my powers. That sounded like a really sweet offer. The world would fear me and be terrified of uttering my name. But what's stopping me? Why don't I want to do this? No, I can't. I would end up destroying everything Grim and the mobs knew and loved. I don't know what to do.
Bozo? Bozo? Bozo!
Huh? What? Grim was telling me that he wanted to go and test out his new sword. Sure, pal. Let's go. Grim and I ventured out into the world, looking for some of Garum's mutant henchmen. Eventually, we spotted a few of them inside of a jungle. The two of us snuck up and found a group of mutant zombies. They were harassing the mobs of the jungle. Okay, Grim, we can't just go charging in without a plan. So I have an idea. I'm gonna distract the zombies while you...
Charge!
Oh, brother. Grim ran in and used his Wither Sword to easily defeat one of the zombies.
Look, Bozo! I did it!
The other zombie attacked him and started to overwhelm him. I quickly went over and slowed them down. Then, I used my Witherstorm powers to absorb the zombie's mutation, freeing them from Garum's control. I could tell that Grim was embarrassed, and I told him not to worry about it.
I just wanted to show you that I'm not useless.
I know, but I need you to be more careful. Being alive is very useful to me. Grim understood, and I told him that we needed to focus on finding information on the air beacon.
Did say air beacon?
The zombie had walked up and told us that he remembered a village knowing where the air beacon was. Thanks! I told Grim to go home and went off to find the village. On days 69 to 71, I made my way towards the village that the zombie mentioned and noticed a cloud of smoke. That's where it's supposed to be. I quickly soared over the smoke, but I was too late to save the village because it was completely in ruins. Garum's men must have been through here. I surveyed the wreckage and didn't see the air beacon in sight. It looks like it wasn't here. I continued looking around. I wanted to see if I can find any survivors. I finally spotted one on the ground. I flew over to him and can tell that he was badly hurt. What happened? The villager told me that Garum and his henchmen attacked this place. They were trying to destroy the air beacon, but its guardian took it and ran away. I asked the villager where the guardian ran off to, but he was hesitant to tell me. I promised that once I find the air beacon, I will use its power to end Garum's reign of tyranny. The villager finally believed me and pointed me towards the mountains.
Find the highest peak. That's where you'll find the nomad.
The villager then died in front of me. This is why I can't side with Garum. It's not fair to these people. I flew off towards the mountains. Was this the kind of destruction that I wanted? I ventured off through the mountains in search of the air nomad. I flew past multiple hills until I was in front of a huge mountain. Let's see if he's here. I made it up to the top, and a person was standing at the peak. It seemed like he was meditating.
Bozo, you finally made it up here.
The air nomad was expecting me. I guess you know why I'm here then.
Yes, but you are not ready for the air beacon just yet.
The nomad told me that he could sense a great struggle within me, and he was right. Even though I was supposed to be bad and love chaos, I've grown to care for the other mobs, and I wanted to protect them. I was mentally lost and didn't know what to do.
I think I know just the thing to help clear your mind.
The nomad motioned towards me, and I followed him down the mountain. On days 75 to 77, I followed him, and eventually he led me to a very windy area in the desert. Somehow, I thought we were in the middle of a rainstorm, but in the desert? Are you sure this is safe?
Yes, everything will be fine.
We made it to the center, and the wind there was so strong. I couldn't fly against it, and the wind blew me away. Whoa! I looked to see if the nomad was fine, and he was. How are you doing that?
Don't fight the wind. Be become one with it.
I didn't know what he was talking about and charge into the eye of the storm. But again, the wind sent me flying back. This was so frustrating. I was ready to give up, but I finally figured it out. I slowly went back into the storm. This time, the wind wasn't pushing me back, and I finally reached the center. The air nomad told me to absorb it, and I did as he said. Suddenly, the storm then disappeared.
Congratulations, Fozo. You see, that wind represented yourself, and you were fighting against that.
I absorbed the air beacon and can feel my powers greatly increase. I grew into a ginormous Witherstorm and gained 10 more hearts. Sick. I thanked the air nomad for all of his help, and he told me to follow my heart, and I'll know what to do. He wished me luck, and I flew off out of the desert. I was making my way back to base when suddenly I heard a familiar voice call out to me. It was Boulder.
Fozo, come down here and face me!
He was standing in the middle of a destroyed coliseum. It looked like he wanted to finish things between us. I landed inside of the arena and asked what he wanted. So, you want a rematch or what?
My master wanted to know your answer to his proposal.
I thought about it for a moment and finally had an answer. You can tell your master that there can only be one creature known as the strongest, and that's gonna be me.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Boulder charged in and ran me across the area. I tried freezing him with my ice powers, but he quickly backed away. I knew this wasn't gonna be an easy fight. Boulder came and slammed me into the ground with his massive hands. I shot him with a huge fireball and pushed him away from me. I then used my tractor beam and severely wounded him. Boulder was a tough opponent, so I needed to finish him off with a heavy attack. I've got it. I summoned all of my air powers and started lifting him high into the sky. You know what they say? What comes up must come down. I released my air powers and dropped Boulder back down to the ground, finally defeating him. With Boulder out of the way, I was one step closer to defeating Garum. On days 81 to 85, I was heading for base when I suddenly spotted some players fighting. They were defending themselves from some mutant creepers. I could tell that they didn't want to get close unless they wanted to get blown up. One of the mutant creepers got close to a player and was about to explode. Look out! Ah! The explosion went off, and the player realized that I was the one who protected him. The other creepers tried to blow me up all at once, but I used my ice powers to freeze them where they stood. I then used my Witherstorm abilities to absorb all of them, turning them back into normal creepers. They all thanked me for freeing them. I turned back towards the players, and they were all afraid. After everything I did, why wouldn't they be? Eventually, one player walked up to me and thanked me. I told him not to worry about it and continued going back to base. I finally reached the base just to find it covered in flames. Oh no, was Garum able to find this place? I searched around the base and couldn't find Grim anywhere. Grim, where are you?
Looking for this?
Garum dropped Grim's wither sword in front of me. Where is he? He told me that Grim was safe, but only for now.
I tried to do it peacefully, but you forced my hand. Especially since you killed my second in command.
I was filled with so much rage that I shot my tractor beam at Garum, but he easily dodged it. Give me back my friend.
Here's my ultimatum, Fozo. Come to my castle and give me your Elemental Witherstorm, or the skeleton dies. Make your decision soon. Your friend doesn't have much time.
Garum flew off and left me at my base. This was all my fault. Because I didn't take Garum's original offer, Grim's now in danger. I had to do something. But what? On days 91 and 94, I was in my base, trying to figure out what to do. The bunnies that were there earlier then showed up. Oh, you guys are okay. They told me that Grim said to escape before Garum could mutate them. See, Grim? You're not as useless as you think. I decided to put out the fires with my ice. The bunnies needed their home back, and I wanted Grim to know that his home was still here too. They thanked me. They asked me where Grim was, and I gave them the bad news that Garum took him. I told them about Garum's offer and was still mulling over it.
You're not just gonna give up, right?
Of course not, but I want to save Grim. I couldn't lose my only friend. I remember what the air nomad told me about following my heart, and finally it came to a conclusion. I told the bunnies that I wasn't going to give Garum my elemental core, but I was going to save Grim. The bunnies knew that I would say that and wished me luck on my travels.
Go kick Garum's butt!
You know I will. I flew out of the base and headed straight for Garum's castle. I made my way over, and Garum was waiting for me with an army of mutants.
Have you finally come to a decision, Fozo?
Yeah, you're not gonna have my elemental nether star. Now give me back my friend or suffer the consequences.
What a pity. Oh well, minions, go get me that star.
Garum left, and it was just me and his mutant henchmen. They began to charge at me, and I prepared myself for the battle. Some mutant creepers tried to explode themselves themselves, but I summoned multiple lightning bolts to take them down. The hoglins then came charging in, and I stopped them in their tracks with a large fireball. A mutant enderman appeared behind me and knocked me towards the ground. The mutants began to swarm around me, and I knew that this was a pointless fight. I floated back up and used my air powers to bring all of the mutants into the sky. Then I absorbed all of the mutation and turned the mobs back to normal. I then flew inside of Garm's base and spotted him about to kill Grim. No! I shot a fireball at him, and he dodged it. The dragon then flew out of the castle. Grim, I'm sorry I got you into this. I let him out of the cage and told him to head back to base. I will deal with Garum. On day 100, Garum finally stopped flying, and the two of us were at the top of a mountain. It's over. You've lost.
I don't think so. All I need to do is take your elemental nether star and start over.
No, Garum, I won't let you have your way. This ends now. A storm then began, and we started our fight. Garum blasted me with his mutant dragon breath, which knocked me across the peak. I lost a good amount of my hearts.
You think that you're so strong, but you can't admit that you'll never be the strongest creature.
You are wrong. I hovered above Garum and can feel my elemental powers surging within me. Garum tried to hit me with his mutant breath, but I absorbed it. I used my lightning abilities and stunned him. Then, I used my air powers to lift him up and knock him down with fire. Garum was severely wounded, and I gathered up all my strength to finish him off with my tractor beam, leaving nothing but a large crater. The storm began to clear, and the world was safe from Garum. And just like that, I was now the strongest creature in all of Minecraft.